And then through my tears, I said to the guys, I said, well, do you like that? I said, now I'm going to make you happy again. And I played a happy song, and everybody got happy, you know. Gentleman told me, he said, that's the best thing he's ever seen done in music. But if you use music that way, rather than just getting up making noise in front of people and trying to be cute and all that, it's a powerful thing. And we can use it to go into situations. I could even see going into a situation of war where people are actually firing guns at one another. And playing the right kind of music, it'll change their minds.
So you could, I mean, you're talking about manipulating people, basically.
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously there are people who are on the inside of this too. There are artists.
You know who they are? You know who it is most of all? It's Madison Avenue.
Yeah.
They know it better than almost the scientists who don't talk in terms of the practical application of it as much. But you would not buy as much if you went into Walmart or Kmart Christmas time and they weren't playing Christmas music. You wouldn't spend as much money as you do. They play Christmas music and you reach in your pocket and buy it. They know that.
So there are people on Madison Avenue, obviously, that have the type of information that we're talking about
Sure
here,
they do.
that are going out of their way to make sure that you take money out of your pocket. And
Absolutely.
On their
Absolutely. Every commercial you see has music. If it didn't have music, you wouldn't watch it.
If you know you're being manipulated because you have the sense of how the thing works, can you short-circuit it, or do you short-circuit it?
Sometimes I enjoy it so much I don't want to short-circuit it. You know, why short-circuit something you're enjoying? You know,
Yeah.
if I need to, yeah, I can. But
at least you're conscious of it.
you're conscious of it, and you can then make the choice to be manipulated or not. I mean, why not? I mean, I like experiences too. I mean, if you're trying to sell me, an automobile, and I'm looking for an automobile, and you make me like that one, and I buy it, I'm happy, and you're happy, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
So, but I mean, at least most people don't have that type of awareness.
No, they don't.
I mean, whenever somebody who starts playing a drum and bugle and gets a whole country to move the right way, and then suddenly you have Nazi Germany. I mean, that
But they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing, right?
And exploitation does take place using all of the tools that could also free people. The tool itself is not where it comes from. It's how it's used, and it's based on the philosophy of the person that has it. Person has a lot of money and they're corrupt, they can cause a lot of damage. Person has a lot of money and they have a philosophy of life of helping the situation, they can do a lot of good. You know.
When you were talking about the funeral thing just a few minutes ago, I mean, you were manipulating people, but that manipulation was one that was, it generally had a beneficent nature to it.
But that's a judgment. And I leave the judgments to the people.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a right to judge what they like and what they don't like, you know, and why not?
But what I was getting to is when you start to try to manipulate somebody with music, I mean, the universe itself has a song in it.
No question.
And it would seem to me from what you're saying that that the duty of that the musician's gift is the ability to tap into some part of that song and make it work.
Mm-hmm.
The universe has certain things in mind for the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems to me that the larger music is the music that's pulling you in the direction that you're supposed to go in anyway.
That's true. I would say this, that if you look at the oral tradition in every culture that has an oral tradition versus the written tradition, you will find that as the music of the Native American is passed from generation to generation, the apprentice who receives that music is trained and obligated into the responsibilities of its use before they get it, or else they won't get it. In the written tradition, you can go to the library, pick up a book and take it, plagiarize it, steal it, do anything you want. You can take the Bible, change it, do anything you want to with it. Mm-hmm. And that's where we're falling off. Because you find people like the Aborigines in Australia for 100,000 years have been doing the same thing and living in harmony with nature because that oral tradition passes the responsibility. You can't get it if you haven't obligated yourself to using it properly, as that culture has determined is consistent with the oversoul, so to speak. But in our Western world, give a kid an instrument, he'll just mess around with it. Give him anything, he'll just mess around with stuff because we're not trained that there's a responsibility that goes with power.
You know, following this line that we were just talking about, let's say we put somebody with your knowledge in Nazi Germany, okay, and you have the chance to do the balancing drumming. Do you have an advantage over the guy who's trying to pervert the drumming?
Yeah, because if you're sitting down at the poker table and you know what the other guy has in his hand, and he doesn't know what's in your hand, you can win. Because
you're more tied into the big issues.
You have more knowledge. That's all. You just have more understanding. I talk about the two games that go on in life among human beings. It happens in every culture. I call one game chess and one game poker. A chess game is a game of peers. That's what the KGB and the CIA were playing. And the way you win a chess game is that if your strategy is 5 levels deep and mine's 6 levels deep, I win. Now, you know what I know, but you don't know how much of what we know that I know. I might have a little edge on you, and I could beat you. Or if you go 7 levels deep, you can beat me. But we know we're playing peers. The other game is poker. Poker's a game of bluff. You got to determine whether you're playing a poker game first. And if you're playing a poker game, the only rule is, can you outbluff the person? And most people don't make a determination of that before they go forward. So they get set up in the bluff context, or they get conned. And then everything flows from that because of that initial assumption that they didn't challenge. So when somebody says to me, and I've had it happen because of my complexion a lot in a society like this, I've had people ask me if I were qualified. Well, I don't take that question without asking you a question. Are you qualified to judge me?
Hear, hear.
I'm not going to assume you are. If you're going to have a fine-tooth comb go over me, I want to know, do you have a fine-tooth comb?
Absolutely. And this would be the explanation for why the arts need to be controlled in a totalitarian country, because well,
they are. Now, let me tell you how that happens. See, the ancient Chinese knew that back in Confucius's time, they knew the emperor. There's a ancient writing that the Emperor Shun, S-H-U-N, when he wanted to check how things were going in the provinces, he did not check the books, he did not check the politics, he didn't go out to see what was going on. He went out and checked the notes of their musical scale. If they were playing the right music, he knew everything was all right. If their music was changing and it wasn't going the way it was supposed to go, then he knew he had trouble. Now, Mao Zedong knew that because he read that. So the first thing Mao did to oppress the Chinese was he slaughtered musicians. He had mass burnings of musical instruments, and he slaughtered musicians, just like Hitler slaughtered Jews.
Wow. Nelson, we are out of time. This is horrible. We get into this situation a lot where we're stuck. Thank you all so very, very much for coming. Nelson, maybe you come back sometime?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, it's great. Thank you. Thank you all, and keep a good song in your heart. Good night.